Chosen one. This is not random. The fact that you are here right now, reading these words, feeling something stir deep within your soul, this is divine orchestration. Heaven has been preparing this exact moment, aligning every circumstance, every heartbeat, every breath to bring you to this sacred intersection of time and eternity. Anointed one, you stand on the precipice of something extraordinary. What you have been feeling in your spirit, that restlessness, that holy discomfort, that sense that everything is about to shift, you are not imagining it. The spiritual atmosphere around your life is charged with expectation. Angels have been dispatched. Doors that have been sealed are beginning to creak open. The breakthrough you have been crying out for is closer than you think. Your soul recognizes what your mind cannot yet comprehend, like a compass pointing true north. Something within you knows that your season of waiting is coming to an end. The prophetic clock is ticking toward your moment of divine manifestation. This isn't wishful thinking. Chosen one, this is heaven's declaration over your life right now. Can you feel it? That quickening in your spirit? That is not anxiety. That is not fear. That is anticipation. That is your spirit recognizing the sound of heaven's footsteps approaching your situation. God is about to move in your life in ways that will leave no doubt to you or anyone watching that He is real and that He is faithful. Chosen one. God is preparing to use your life as undeniable evidence, but not the kind of evidence that needs to argue or defend itself. Not the kind that stands on platforms demanding to be noticed. No. You are becoming something far more powerful. You are becoming the kind of proof that simply exists, and by existing, shifts entire atmospheres. I remember sitting alone in my apartment 4 years ago, staring at the eviction notice on my table. My marriage had ended 6 months earlier. My career, which I had built for 15 years, had collapsed seemingly overnight. Friends who I thought would stand by me had slowly disappeared. The bank account showed $17. The phone kept ringing with calls from creditors I couldn't face, and in that moment, I felt more invisible than I would ever felt in my life. I remember the weight of that night. It was a Tuesday. Rain was hitting the window. I could hear my neighbor's television through the thin walls, their laughter at some sitcom, while my world felt like it was ending. I was sitting on the floor because they had already repossessed most of my furniture, and I whispered through tears, God, if you are real, if you see me, if any of this has meaning, I need you to show up. I need a sign. I need to know I am not alone. And I heard it, not audibly, but deeper than any voice could reach, clearer than any sound my ears had ever processed. I see you. I have always seen you. Every tear you have cried, I have collected. Every night you couldn't sleep, I was there. Every moment you felt abandoned, I was closer than your breath. And what you think is an ending is actually your beginning. Your scars are about to become my signature on your life. This darkness you are in, it is not a grave. It is a cocoon, and chosen one, you are about to emerge with wings. Anointed one, that is exactly where you are. You may feel forgotten, overlooked, like your struggles are invisible to everyone, including heaven. But I am here to tell you something that will change everything. God has been watching every moment. He has been collecting every tear in a bottle. He has been documenting every night you couldn't sleep, every prayer that felt like it hit the ceiling, every moment you wanted to give up but somehow found the strength for one more day. Why? Because chosen one, you are not just surviving. You are being transformed into living proof, while you thought you were just trying to make it through another week. Heaven was writing a testimony that will awaken faith in people who stopped believing years ago, while you assumed you were barely hanging on. God was engraving His fingerprints all over your story. Think about this deeply. There are people in your life who pride themselves on being logical. They trust what they can see, measure, and control. They have built their entire worldview on rationality and reason. Yet when they encounter you, something doesn't add up. Your perseverance after what should have destroyed you. It doesn't compute. Your peace in the middle of chaos. It defies their understanding. Your ability to forgive, to hope, to keep believing when belief seems foolish. It rattles their carefully constructed explanations about how life works. And that is exactly the point. What is happening in and through you is supernatural. It is impossible by human standards, and that impossibility is precisely what makes you proof. You have become a walking contradiction to everything the world says about how much a person can endure, how deep grace can reach, how complete transformation can be. This is why the weight on your shoulders has felt unbearable at times. You haven't just been carrying your own battles. Anointed one, you have been carrying proof that will shatter the arguments of those who claim heaven is silent. You have been incubating evidence that will resurrect hope in hearts that had given up on miracles. You didn't volunteer for this assignment by posting about it online. You weren't chosen because you had a perfect testimony to share at church meetings. You were selected because of what you did when nobody was watching. When the cameras were off and the crowds went home, you still whispered, "Thank you, God," through your tears. When faithfulness brought you no rewards, no recognition, no relief, you kept being faithful anyway. You were marked for this purpose because even when your faith felt as fragile as a candle flame in a hurricane, you protected it. You kept it burning one day at a time, one prayer at a time, one decision to trust at a time. Do you understand how extraordinarily rare that is? In a world that celebrates shortcuts and instant results, you didn't skip the process. You could have. There were moments when the easy path called to you, moments when compromising your integrity would have brought immediate relief, moments when abandoning your principles would have made life so much simpler. But you didn't. In a culture that glorifies image and performance, you chose authenticity even when authenticity meant admitting you were struggling. In a generation where everyone's hunting for validation through followers and likes, you kept searching for truth even when truth led you through valleys of isolation and misunderstanding. That kind of soul becomes undeniable proof of something greater. That kind of integrity cannot be manufactured or faked. And that is why people feel inexplicably drawn to you, yet simultaneously uncomfortable around you. They cannot articulate it, but something about your presence disrupts their carefully constructed beliefs about life. You are a walking question mark to everything they have convinced themselves about reality. I was having coffee with an old colleague last month. She is brilliant, successful, the kind of person who has life figured out. As we talked, she suddenly stopped mid-sentence and said, "I need to ask you something. I have been watching your life from a distance. I saw everything you went through. I saw things that would have destroyed most people. Yet here you are. You have this light, this peace. It doesn't make logical sense. What do you know that I don't?" That is when I realized, chosen one, that my life had become the sermon she needed to hear, not my words, my existence. Not what I said, but what I would become through the fire. And God is about to do the same thing with you. He is about to position you before people who desperately need to see that He is real. Let me tell you something profound about why you were chosen. It wasn't random. It wasn't luck. Heaven doesn't operate on chance or coincidence. You were selected before you were born, before you took your first breath, before your name was spoken for the first time, before you knew joy or pain, success or failure. God looked at you and said, This one will carry my proof to a generation that desperately needs to see me." You were chosen because heaven saw something in your spirit that qualified you for this assignment. Not your perfection, not your abilities, not your education or connections or talents. Heaven saw your heart. They saw a soul that would hold on to faith even when faith seemed foolish. They saw someone who wouldn't give up on truth even when lies were more convenient. They saw a spirit that would keep reaching for God even in the darkest valleys. And chosen one. Here is what will absolutely transform how you see your past. Every single thing you have been through, every disappointment, every betrayal, every loss, every moment you wanted to quit, it wasn't wasted. It wasn't meaningless. It was meticulously orchestrated preparation. You weren't just going through random hardship. You were being forged in a divine furnace. The heat you felt, it wasn't meant to destroy you. It was refining you, purifying you, strengthening you for what is coming. Think about gold. Before it becomes valuable, it must go through intense heat. The fire doesn't destroy the gold. It removes the impurities. It burns away everything that isn't gold, until what remains is pure, precious, and powerful. That is what has been happening to you. Every trial has been removing impurities. Every challenge has been burning away everything that isn't essential. And what is emerging, anointed one, is pure gold. You are becoming a person of such spiritual value that heaven itself will display you as proof of transformation's possibility. When they look at you, they will not just see someone who survived difficult circumstances. They will see divine fingerprints. They will see evidence that heaven still intervenes. They will see proof that transformation isn't just possible, it is real. Your life has become a sacred canvas, and every painful brushstroke was preparing a masterpiece. I know it didn't feel like art when you were living through it. When you were on your knees at 3 a.m, bargaining with God for just one breakthrough, it felt like chaos. When you were in that hospital waiting room, when you opened that rejection letter, when you packed up your life after another disappointment, it looked like destruction. But now the picture is becoming clear. The seemingly random strokes of joy and pain, victory and loss, are forming something breathtaking. And when people step back to observe your life, they will not just see you, they will see God's handiwork. They will witness what happens when heaven refuses to abandon its chosen vessels. Here is what might surprise you. You probably feel ordinary. You wake up, brush your teeth, go through your day like everyone else. You don't feel like proof of anything divine. You see your flaws, your struggles, your moments of doubt. And that is exactly what makes you perfect for this assignment. Because the most powerful proof isn't perfection, it is transformation. It is not about being flawless. It is about being faithful. It is not about never falling. It is about how you rise. The world is full of people claiming to have it all together. Social media is saturated with carefully curated lives that look perfect from every angle. But you know what is rare? Real transformation, authentic change, genuine growth that happens in the secret place where only God sees. That is what you carry. Chosen one, that is the proof heaven has been cultivating in you. And now, the season is shifting. What has been hidden is about to be revealed. What has been prepared in private is about to be displayed publicly. Not for your glory, but as evidence that God still moves, still heals, still redeems, still transforms lives. I need you to hear this clearly. The next season of your life will be marked by acceleration. Things that have been stuck for years will suddenly shift. Relationships that seemed beyond repair will unexpectedly heal. Opportunities that appeared impossible will mysteriously open. Resources that have been withheld will suddenly flow. The acceleration I am speaking of is not gradual. It is not a slow improvement over months or years. This is supernatural speed. This is divine intervention that bypasses natural processes. What should take 5 years will happen in 5 months. What should take a year will manifest in weeks. Because when heaven decides it is time, earthly timelines become irrelevant. I have seen this acceleration in my own life, and it is breathtaking. Within 3 months of my breakthrough beginning, I received 7 job offers after 2 years of unemployment. Within 6 months, relationships that had been broken for a decade were restored. Within a year, I was debt-free after being $60,000 in the hole. That is not natural progression. That is supernatural acceleration. And chosen one, the same acceleration is about to hit your life. Doors that have been closed for years will swing open so fast you will barely have time to process it. People who cut you off will suddenly reach out with apologies and restored connection. Finances that have been tight will suddenly open up with unexpected bonuses, opportunities, and provision from sources you never saw coming. Health situations that doctors said would take years to heal will suddenly turn around. Family dynamics that seemed permanently broken will experience miraculous reconciliation. Career paths that appeared blocked will suddenly clear with opportunities beyond what you asked for or imagined. This is heaven's acceleration, and it is not happening because you have finally done everything right. It is not happening because you have earned it or deserved it. It is happening because heaven's calendar says it is time. The season of hidden preparation is ending. The season of visible demonstration is beginning. But chosen one, with this new season comes new responsibility. As your life becomes more visible proof, people will respond in different ways. Some will celebrate your breakthrough and genuinely rejoice with you. Others will be inspired, and your testimony will give them courage to believe for their own miracle. These responses will fuel your purpose and remind you why you endured, but there will also be those who struggle with your elevation. Some will question whether you really went through what you say you did. Others will attempt to minimize your transformation or attribute it to luck or timing. A few might even feel threatened by the evidence your life presents because it challenges their own choices and beliefs. In those moments, remember this: you are not proof for everyone. You are proof for those whose hearts are ready to receive. Don't waste energy defending yourself to people who aren't ready to see. Your assignment isn't to convince skeptics. Your assignment is to live authentically as the transformed person you have become, and let your life speak for itself. I learned this lesson the hard way. When my breakthrough began, I felt this pressure to make everyone understand, to make everyone believe. I exhausted myself trying to convince people who weren't ready. Then I heard it clearly in my spirit: stop defending what I am doing in your life. Just live it. The right people will see. The ready hearts will respond. And that is all that matters. That truth changed everything for me. I stopped performing. I stopped over-explaining. I simply lived as the transformed person God had made me, and that is when the real impact began. People who I had been trying to convince through words were suddenly seeing through my life, and it was far more powerful than any argument I could have made. Chosen one, your proof will manifest uniquely. Some of you will become proof through supernatural healing that medical science cannot explain. Your body will testify to God's reality. Others will become proof through financial multiplication that defies economic logic. Your abundance will demonstrate heaven's provision. Some will become proof through restored relationships that seemed impossible. Your reconciliation will showcase God's redemptive power. But all of you, regardless of how it manifests, will prove one unchangeable truth: God is still intimately involved in human stories. He still sees. He still cares. He still intervenes. He still transforms. And your life is Exhibit A. The fear you might be feeling right now, Moses felt it when God called him to lead. Esther felt it when she realized her position had purpose. Every person chosen to be proof has felt this weight. It is normal. It is human. But that fear is about to be swallowed by something greater: the awe of watching God move through your surrendered life. You are about to witness miracles from the front row. Things you have prayed about for years will suddenly resolve. People you have lost connection with will unexpectedly reach out. Opportunities you stopped hoping for will present themselves. And with each manifestation, you will understand more deeply that this isn't about you. It is about the God who chose to work through you. 3 months from now, you will barely recognize yourself. The acceleration will not just change circumstances. It will transform your very nature. You will carry authority you didn't pursue. You will speak with wisdom you didn't study for. You will move with confidence that comes only from knowing heaven backs every step. People will ask what happened, and you will struggle to explain because some transformations are too sacred for words. But remember, chosen one, being proof isn't about perfection. You will still face battles. You will still walk through valleys, but now every valley becomes a stage for God's faithfulness. Every battle becomes tomorrow's testimony. Your humanity doesn't disqualify you. It makes your divine transformation even more remarkable. Your proof is someone's answered prayer right now, somewhere. Someone is asking God if He is real, if He still moves, if transformation is possible. And heaven is about to position them to encounter you. Your testimony will be their reason to hold on. Your transformation will be their permission to believe for their own miracle. You are not optional in heaven's plan for this generation. You are essential. Every person you will influence, every life you will impact, every heart you will inspire. None of it is accidental. It has all been orchestrated before time began. You were created for such a time as this. So, step forward boldly. Anointed one, walk into rooms you weren't invited to, speak words you feel unqualified to say, dream impossibly large dreams, pursue visions that seem beyond your reach, because you are not moving in your own strength anymore. You are moving as living proof of the God who still heals, still delivers, still makes all things new. Whether you feel ready or not, whether you feel worthy or not, whether you feel adequate or not, this is your moment. Heaven is watching, earth is waiting, angels are celebrating, and you are about to step into your destiny as undeniable proof that God is exactly who He says He is. Faithful, powerful, present, real, working all things together for your good, making beauty from ashes, turning mourning into dancing, transforming death into life, and using ordinary people like you and me to demonstrate His extraordinary power. Your time as living evidence has begun. The world will never be the same because you said yes, because you surrendered, because you trusted even when you couldn't see, because you kept going, even when you wanted to quit. All of it mattered. All of it counted. All of it was preparing you for this moment. Place your hand over your heart right now. Feel that beating. That is not just biology. That is purpose. That is destiny. That is heaven's drumbeat pounding through your veins, reminding you that you were chosen for such a time as this. Every beat is a reminder that you are alive for a reason, that your story matters, that your life carries weight in the spiritual realm. I want to speak a blessing over you as we close. May every door that seemed permanently sealed burst open at your approach. May resources flow to you like rivers, finding their ocean. May divine connections seek you out with perfect timing. May your testimony become so powerful that hearts across nations are awakened by your story. May you never doubt again that you matter, that you are seen, that you are loved beyond measure by the God who created galaxies, and yet knows every hair on your head. May you walk in your authority, stand in your identity, and live as the proof you were created to be. And chosen one, as you step into this new chapter, I want to invite you to stay connected with our Chosen by Heaven's community. If this message resonated with your spirit, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the divine downloads heaven has prepared for your journey ahead. Hit that like button to let me know this word found you at the right time. And if you feel led to support this ministry through the Super Thanks feature, your generosity helps us continue spreading these life-changing messages to chosen ones around the world who desperately need to hear that they matter. Most importantly, drop a comment below telling me what God spoke to your heart today. Your testimony might be exactly what another chosen one needs to read right now. We are not just viewers here. We are a family of transformed lives becoming proof together. Tomorrow when you wake up, remember this. No matter how you feel, no matter what circumstances look like, heaven is watching. Angels are ministering, and your breakthrough is accelerating. Walk in your authority, stand in your anointing. Live as the proof you were created to be. Until we meet again in the next message heaven has for you, remember, chosen one, God is about to use your life as undeniable proof that He is real. The seal is set. The word is released. Your miracle has begun. Welcome to Chosen by Heavens, where your rising matters and your story changes the world.